Hello friends, welcome back. In part 2 video, we have seen questions up to 27. Now, let us continue from question number 28. Right. So, in the project manager round, he may ask a question like, do you know what is query log? Yes, you need to say that. Yes, in my project we are using query log. So, when we will use this query log? When we have doubts on FDD document, we will prepare our queries in query log and we'll upload that in the SharePoint. Functional team will provide clarifications to the queries which are logged in query log. Daily meetings will be happening in the company to get the clarifications on the query log. So let us see sample format of the query log. Suppose if you have a doubt on a requirement for field validation. So what is the version number of FDD, section number, which module, and what is the query you are having? Do you have any comments that you want to convey here? And offshore comments, onshore comments, who reported that query, when reported, when it is respond got the response from the onshore functional team, and who is the functional spoke for that, and what is the status of that query. Like that you can mention whatever the queries you have in a query log document. So whenever a query is discussed in that meeting, they will provide the clarifications here. Like this you can say that yes, we are using query log for logging the queries in the requirements, right? Next, question number 29. Bridge call. What is bridge call? It is a conference call which is used to discuss project related details with the project team members, like requirements or scope of the requirements, or bug fixing details, or about status of the project, and all roadmap of the project, like several things we can discuss related to the project with the all the team members of the project. Then we are going to schedule a meeting with them, that will be called as a bridge call, right? Next, question number 30. Which repository server you are using in your project? So you can say that repository servers like SVN or GitHub or Bitbucket, whatever the tool that you are using, you should explain that name, and right. Yes. Question number 31. What is the check-in and checkout? What is the check-in and checkout? So in the SVN, right, the process of committing the code from local system to repository system is called check-in, and the process of moving, or the process of taking code from repository system to local system, is called as checkout. Checkout means taking the code from the repository to the local. Check-in means moving the changes from local system to repository system, right? So in this SVN it is called checkout and check-in. If we are using GitHub, then we called as push and pull. Pull means taking the code from repository to the local. Push means sending the code from local to repository, right? How you will do code checking? So this is very important, because there is a chance of getting overriding problems and conflicts while committing the code. So whenever you are done with the changes of your files, before checking those files, first we need to compare the files with the repository. If you see any new changes in the repository, then you should take update of those changes, then you need to commit your changes with those changes as well. We should not commit the files directly without comparison and without taking the update. So you should explain the procedure. First I will write the changes in my files. So then when I want to commit those files, I will compare my file with the repository file. If there are no changes in the repository, then directly I will can commit my file. If there is a change in the repository, then I will take update of those changes. I will make sure code is not overriding, or there is no chance of getting compilation errors and conflicts. After making sure that, then I will push my code from the local system to repository system. That is called as a commit process or check-in process. All right. Coming to question number 33. So when you say that SVN or GitHub, they will ask you what are the client softwares that you are using for SVN. So generally, SVN server will be installed in one computer, that is centralized system. Clients will be installed in several computers. So for the SVN, we can use Tortoise SVN as a client, or we can use Subclipse plugin as a client. If you are working with IDE, then it's better to go for Subclipse, right? Fine. Next one. Question number 34. Have you ever used VPN? The first VPN stands for virtual private network, which is like a firewall to access client specific data like project source code or functional design documents or technical design documents or bug reports, minutes of meetings, all the information related to your project that will be stored in SharePoint, right, or some other servers. So in order to access the data, we need to connect to a VPN. Once we join in a company, we can send a request for the project manager to provide the VPN access. They will provide username and password. Most of the companies will use Cisco AnyConnect as a VPN software. Right. Next, what is debugging? For developer, this is very important. Debugging is a process of executing code step by step, which is used to identify bugs in the code. So if you don't know what is this debugging, please go to my YouTube channel, that is Ashok IT School. So here I prepared a 40 minutes of video to understand the debugging very clearly. All right. Next, what is the difference between debugging and testing? So debugging is done by developer to identify the bug and to fix the bug, whereas testing will done by testers, which is used for identifying the bugs. In that video, I discussed very clearly what is debugging, what is testing, and what are the several debugging shortcuts are available like F5, F6, F7, F8, and drop to frame. Right. The next one, what is drop to frame? So drop to frame means whenever we are executing a method, we reach to end of the method, but we did not get the actual idea how that method got executed. Then we can go for drop to frame in order to re-execute that method. Fine. Next one. Can we change value of a variable when the program is running? Yes, of course, we can do that by using debugging. So let me show you a simple demo here. Here I have a class calculator where I have kept a breakpoint here. Let me debug this. Debug as, right click on this, debug as Java application. Now breakpoint is there at the 6th line, program is stopped there. Now press F6 to go to the next line. Then this method got executed and I got the result. Mouse over on the result variable 30. So here if you see variable palette is available, then expand this, value is there as a 30. Now I am modifying the value to 60. So what is the result value? Now 60. If I complete this execution, which will be printed, 60 is printing, but actually 10 plus 20, 30 should be printed because we are changing the value in the variable. So it is possible to change the value of a variable when the program is under debug mode. So they may ask you like this, have you ever done values changes in the debug mode? Yes, we can do that. This, why we need to change these values? When we are running when we are testing our program, several conditions I need to test, right? So then I can change the value of the variable, then I can complete the testing of all my code. Fine. Now, have you ever worked with the debug shell? Yes. Yeah, whenever we are debugging that code, right? Debug as Java program is under debug mode. Here you can go for debug shell where you can write some code, or suppose if there is a string value, I want to convert into uppercase, or I want to convert into lowercase, or I want to execute a condition. So you can write some code here, string dot value of some 10 like this, control shift I. So the code is getting executed. So whatever the string dot, some methods that you can call in the runtime by using this debug shell. So if you want to execute some piece of code in the program under execution, then you can use this debug shell. If you don't see this debug shell here, you can go to window, show view, there is an option called debug shell, then it will be printed where you can write the code when the program is under execution. So you can say that yes, we use debugging shell. Next, what is unit testing? So very interesting question, right? So unit testing is a level of software testing where individual components of the software is tested, which is used to make sure whatever the code we have written is working as expected. Right? Generally, developer is responsible to perform unit testing. To perform this unit testing, we will use tools like JUnit and Mockito. Fine. So you should know the unit testing. Fine. Now for the unit testing also, I prepared a video in my channel. Here JUnit with Mockito video is there. You can understand what is unit testing and what is JUnit and what is Mockito here. So please watch these videos so that you will get the clarity on that. Next. So tell me few annotations available in the JUnit. That is question number 43. Here you should know the annotations of the JUnit like before class, after class, @before, @after, and @test. Fine. Next one, do you know mocking? Yes. As a developer, we will perform unit testing. As part of that unit testing, sometimes we need to go for mocking. So first, what is mocking? It is process of creating substitute objects while performing unit testing. Mocking means it is imitating something. Now, when we are using mocking in unit testing, An object that you want to test may have dependency on the another complex object. That means one of my component wants to talk to another component, that another component is not available at this moment. I don't want to wait for other component to be available in order to test my component. Then in order to proceed with the testing, I will create a substitute for the dependent component for my component. Then I can perform my unit testing. The process of mimicking or imitating the components is called mocking. Fine. All right, we covered up to 44 questions here. So the remaining questions I am covering in the part 4. Thank you.